I weep so hard for the South Africaners, the black South Africaners. I begin to realize that South Africaners need to be very careful because I am very sure that in times to come, in years to come, there will either be a change of landmass or
It seems the long-term goal is to cut off from South Africa to build a white-only country. Let me ask you, if you had your way to make Orania its own country, would you contribute to that?
Yes, I think it would be nice.
Is reserved for the whites.
Do I believe that places like Orania should exist? No. Do I believe?
Orania is a small community in South Africa that does not allow black South African presence. This community does not allow black people to live in their country, to stay in their country, to even do anything in the country. They don't even allow them to even work in the country. They said the work are meant for the whites, Afrikaners, everything they need. In fact, they even have their own currency, which is not fair. Why will you have a government and then you have a currency inside South Africa? That we have land and still have oil.
Orania got their own currency, their own.
Let's go, as we talk with Stephen Nduku, to Orania.
Orania is a privately owned town in South Africa's Northern Cape, established in 1991 as a self-proclaimed Volksstaat, which is the Afrikaners' homeland for white Afrikaners seeking cultural preservation and self-determination, with a population of around 2,874 people as of 2023, and growing rapidly. It operates under strict Afrikaners only residency policy, sparking debate over whether it perpetuates apartheid era celebration under the guise of cultural autonomy. Now we are now make more research about what are the histories and the ideologies
of the South Africa to build a white-only country. Let me ask you, if you had your way to make Orania its own country, would you contribute to that?
Yes, I think it would be nice.
Not subject of land ownership in South Africa. During apartheid, 87% of South African land was owned by the white minority, despite them making less than 10% of the population. That number hasn't changed by much since post-apartheid. So now, the government promised land reforms to correct this. The South Africa
that was established back in 1991. Yes, there is a town for whites only, and black people are not allowed.
Orania was founded by Carel, son-in-law of Hendrik Verwoerd, which is the architecture of apartheid. Orania was envisioned as a refuge for the Afrikaners and South Africans' transition to majority rule. The town was built on the land purchased from the government, previously a worker settlement for the Vandak Roof Dam project. Existing mixed-race community with evicted, a move criticized as one of the apartheid's last forced removal. Orania's ideology centers on a self-reliance, rejecting reliance on non-white labor, a departure from apartheid's BASCAP, which is the white supremacy, but maintaining racial exclusivity. Residents argued they are preserving Afrikaners' language, which is the Afrikaans, which is the Calvinist transition and safety from South Africans' high crime rate.
African government has been entertaining this, given that if you are a citizen of a country, you should be allowed to visit any place you want, but if you are black, you are not allowed to visit Orania. And another thing about South Africa is that there is a lot of historical injustices in South Africa, as you have seen the online war going on between Elon Musk and South Africa's opposition leader, Julius Malema. And it's one of those news that we are going to look at as they unfold. Thank you.
Since most of the lands were owned by the white minority, it became a big problem.
The poor, the farmer.
I also make more research about the governance and the economy. Their autonomy community, Orania, operates with a transitional representative council bypassing local municipal governance. It collects its own taxes and provides services like sewage and labor power. They also legally exploit South Africans' constitutional rights to self-determination for cultural groups. The town uses its own currency, which is the Ora, equal to 1 rand of the South Africa, and prioritizes Afrikaners' only employment, even for manual labor. Key industries include pekka farming, construction, and renewable energy. The economy has grown at 12.8% annually. It is zero on employment. Apartheid comparison. Critics label Orania a whites-only apartheid relic, citing its exclusionary policy and display of apartheid-era symbols. The NC government has largely tolerated Orania, though some officials call it an indictment South Africa. Prospective residents must prove African heritage, African influences, and adherence to conservative values. No non-white residents have been admitted, despite claims of cultural criteria. In 2025, Orania Luda sought U.S. government, which is a Republican support, for recognition as an autonomous state, drawing accusation of stalking racial devotion. Orania has grown from 1,000 in 2014 to nearly 3,000 in 2023, driven by Afrikaners fleeing crime and economic policies like black economic empowerment. Afrikaners only signing cabinet churches and monuments to board leaders dominate. The town hosts a Varwood Museum and a Kilk Sister, which is Afrikaners' pastry monument. Residents cite low crime and communal living as a key attraction.
And now we are at our bank, which is one of our institutions.
Like when you say your bank, like is the bank founded by Afrikaner?
Yeah, by Oranian, yeah. So
What is the name of the bank?
it's OSK, which stands for Orania Savings and Credit. Orania, we use both rands, which is the South African currency, and then I've brought with me a couple of auras. Auras is our own Orania currency, so you can have a look at that. It acts like a currency in Orania. It's notes that you can only use in Orania, and it is backed by the rand, so it's a one-to-one exchange rate for the rand.
It begins to get more interesting when Stephen Ndeku begins to challenge their belief. Listen to one of the questions he asked them.
Rate for the rand.
I'm very curious.
Yes.
Does the South African Constitution allow you guys to do this?
Yes, because this is a coupon system, right? This is not a competing currency with the rand. In fact, I think it actually benefits the rand as well. This is a 10 aura. While we have this 10 aura in our hands right now, there's 10 auras somewhere in a bank. So while we are trading with, which is arguably worthless pieces of paper, coupons, you know, there's actually money in the bank that is being generating
Okay,
income.
so what you're saying is, if a local person has 20 aura,
Yes.
it means they have 20 rands.
Yes.
So they don't necessarily need to hold rands.
Yes.
So would you say this is one of the many strategies you guys are trying to implement to gradually take out the rands from your economy?
No.
Here.
No. Well, this is one of the many strategies we have to grow an internal
So you look for the
economy in
step.
Orania. Well,
Can you go to America? Do you prefer to stay in America if they have to offer you a better job, a better welfare?
Freedom.
I think it would be unjust for me to build my own community in America.
In conclusion, Orania remains a popularized experiment in ethnic separatism. While its residents frame it as a cultural sanctuary, its exclusionary practices and ties to apartheid ideology fed ongoing debate about place in post-apartheid South Africa, rapid growth and ambition to reach 10,000 residents. Orania's future may test the limit of South Africans' constitutional tolerance for self-determination.
I want you guys to tell me in the comment section, what are your thoughts about this? What do you think about what is happening in South Africa, the Oranian community creating their own economy, collecting their own taxes, building their own infrastructure, you know, making their own security and the rest of it? What do you think about it? Or what do you assume could be the future outcome of this? Thank you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video.
When you look at Orania, it is very impressive what they've done there. I think the one thing that we must be very worried about, which is to be off the grid and not have load shedding.
Yeah.
Now, do you understand the humiliation, the embarrassment for us? If you look at South Africa from the sky, and it is dark this side, and Orania is all lit
There's a
up.
little patch that's lit. Where is that?
Where's that? They're like, that's where the white people are. That's a problem for me. We are deliberately in darkness.
The bad side of Orania would be it is a symptom of unresolved racial tension. While they claim about cultural preservation, the fact remains it is a racial exclusive town in a country that fought against segregation, even though a section of the constitution permits minority to have enclosed community.